Welcome to the Smoking Word. Welcome to the Smoking Word.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Smoking Word Podcast is back. Shout out to everybody who's been following the ride as we go. Everybody that Smoke AD's out. If you don't know, now you know, all platforms. But it was a minute since we dropped the episode, and this is a personal, a little special one for myself personally, because I've been wanting to make this happen for a minute, and then the forces that be try to throw a couple of potholes in front of us, but we too some city dogs. So I was like, we had a maneuver. Long story short, bass OG, and even more important than that, my smoking partner OG. Listen, I'm gonna get into the deeper part, but we'll set off just with. You might have heard of Zero Tolerance. You might have heard of H2O, but fuck that. If you haven't heard of Smokey and Tattoo Smoke Dog Atlanta, we're going to get into all that. Eric Thrice, my boy. Listen, welcome to the Smoking Word.
Dope.
My brother, first of all, how are you doing? I know you had a weekend with the fam. How did that go before anything?
And awesome. Out at Tybee Island, which is right off the coast of Savannah, Georgia. And man, it's just a beautiful little beach, little island off the coast. It's kind of, I don't know, a lot of people don't know about it because it's a little off the beaten path, but if you live in Georgia or whatever, it's rad. You should definitely check it out. It's a rad beach.
Yeah, it's weird. I always thought about, when I think about you, first of all, when I think of Atlanta, I always thought of you, and then when I always thought of you, I always thought, what a crazy place. Like, I love ATL, but like how you end up there. Originally, where you're from, let everybody know, because I keep forgetting that I know the history. So originally, let people know where you're from.
Yeah, I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, Western New York. That's where I played with Zero Tolerance back in the day, back there, back in the mid to late '80s, and then moved to New York City, where met a bunch of homies out there. Did a lot of stuff out there.
What year was that you were living in New York, in the city?
So I moved there in, I want to say 91. And I was there till I left there in the beginning of 97 is when I moved to Miami.
Oh, yeah. I forgot you did the Miami thing for a minute. Yeah. I forgot that whole shit.
That's where I learned to tattoo down there.
But what I always bugged out was this. So I don't know. I know I've told you this story, but this is a bugged out story that I personally remember, one of the few from being a kid. Because again, there was only a handful of bands. There was plenty of bands, but bands where the guys are still around, that ended up in different bands, so. But so my line is I always go to this story, which is a true fact. When I was a kid and we had the demos, I was 15. With me, Beto, a couple of guys, we would walk up and down the line for Demise when we had the Demise demo, and I would be like, yo, what's up, everybody? 5 songs, $5. This is the hardest shit. That was my sales pitch. But I always remember this. I forgot who was playing. It was packed. It was one of these CB shows with a line. And I met somebody, and I'm going up, and some guy comes up to me and says, yo, let me check that out. Yo, cool. Yo, you want to trade? I was like, yeah. And it was one of the guys at Zero Tolerance. He gives me a demo.
Oh, yeah.
I go, oh, shit, Zero. And he goes, yeah, we're from Buffalo. I said, Buffalo? What are you doing here? Because I did, city kids, we didn't have to travel. And I was like, wait a minute. You're not playing. You might even play, but I was like, wait a minute. You came here for a show? And I was like, yeah.
All over.
Yeah. And then again, I was like, no joke, we were like 16, 17. But I remember that, and I was like, yo, dope. And I was like, that was like one of the first and probably only times I did like a homeboy exchange. With demos, and I always remember them. Then fast forward with you and then Johnny or whoever. Every time I hear that, I'm like, I know them like the demo days, like slanging.
Fuck yeah.
But let's go to that real quick.
to me, that was like one of the major attractions of hardcore was like, oh, you don't just wait for shit to come around.
Yeah.
Like if it wasn't happening, you went and found it. And, to me, like,
Yeah.
the traveling and the like, meeting people out of town and stuff. And, creating this family of people that are all into the same shit,
So
you
many,
know,
yeah.
but and doing the same shit too, and all into the same music, but we're all like in these different places, and it was
So
just magical to me. So that was like a magnet that like just pulled me into hardcore, and you know,
and this is
like
something about you that I think yeah, that gets a little forgotten about as far as the bass players or whatever. I think Smokey gets a little left out when we talk about the bass players, because Smokey was nice with it.
thank you, brother.
Nah, definitely. You were a dope bass player. I remember then. I remember you killing it. And I remember we hung out a lot. We blazed a lot back then during why those days always stick in my head, because those were all our bands were just starting to pop.
Blowing up, yeah.
Yeah, and we were experiencing the same shit, these festivals at the same time, and all that shit. It's crazy how that ended up. And what I always wanted to know is this. So I always knew about the Zero Tolerance. Was there something before Zero Tolerance?
I played in some like punk bands and like skate rock bands
Yeah.
and stuff, but nothing that really
Yeah.
like we played lots of local shows and opened up for bands like I know Straight Ahead came through Buffalo, and one of my old bands
Wow.
opened up. Yeah, it was super rad.
Oh yeah, that's a fun. That's a good little show to say. Oh, just a Straight Ahead show. They play like 10 ever.
Yeah, no, it was rad.
And
I first met Craig way back then, and that was probably like
the G
86 or
Oh yeah.
7 maybe 86. Yeah, right around there. But Zero Tolerance was the band though that was pivotal for me, that actually got me out of town and meeting other bands. And one of the first couple bands that were pivotal that we met were Sick of It All, and like some of the guys from Gorilla Biscuits, and some of the Youth of Today guys and the Judge guys. And Sick of It All, though, especially, man. Sick of It all the years, every band I ever played in, they took us out on a tour, and never forget that. Much love to them, man. They were extremely pivotal for Zero Tolerance. Like, they asked us to play shows with them out of town multiple times. After playing with them once, they totally dug us. They actually coined my name, Smokey.
It was them. For some reason, I thought it was Toby, because that sounds like some Toby shit.
Yeah, Toby was there. I consider Toby just part of Sick of It All.
Same shit.
That's how I met Toby, was with them, and and we would travel to go see shows too, and I'd just run into those guys. We'd go see them, or remember one time we went to go see Bad Brains and Leeway at the police, something like maybe 87 or something. And bumped into Toby and those guys, I was wearing a Zero Tolerance hat, and he was like, "Oh, what's up?" And ended up hanging out there. And
let me ask you this: and why bass? How was there anything before bass? Also, or was always
I played the drums originally.
Oh,
I did that. I was the only. So I had somehow inherited a drum set from a friend of mine when I was a kid. And so I was the only one that actually had a drum set, and I had a place where we could practice. So I just took it on and started doing that. But I sucked at it, man. And then I had met another drummer, and I was like, "Look, dude, like, I got a kit, like, just come over and let's rip it." And we did. And then that's when one of those punk bands first started. And and just went from there. But then I merged to the bass from there, and the bass was just like, I don't know,
that's where you at.
Like, I love feeling the bass.
Yeah.
That's, to me, like no other instrument really, like, gives
Again,
you.
I think that's being a smoker is part of that shit too. Like, on the real, like, you feel like it's something like your brain lets your body take over almost.
Yeah, and yeah. I definitely feel like when I'm playing it and you hit that, you get that little fret buzz a little bit, and it's just,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and that hum is, there's definitely something to sonic frequencies. I don't want to be
No, for sure, for sure.
but like, when you hit that frequency and it hits right, and it's magical.
Yo, people forget, when people used to go to war, when royalty used to come, they used to bang drums. It was deep
Yeah, man.
frequencies to show, wow, authority. Yo,
Yeah,
power's coming.
yeah,
It's getting closer. You feel it. Now it's like, that, so that represented that too, And
absolutely.
how do you end up in H2O? I know you're friends, but what you got, how you get the call? How does that work out?
Okay, so honestly, I was so when I was in New York, and I'd already played in a couple bands at that point. I when I first
Anybody you know,
oh yeah,
like we might know?
oh yeah, yeah. So within the first 2 weeks of living in New York, I ran into Gavin from Burn, and we just started shooting the shit because Zero Tolerance had played a show with them, in Buffalo at one point or whatever, and we were shooting the shit. And I was like, "Hey, man, yeah, I live here now, like, so if you hear any bands or whatever." And he's like, "Well, yeah, I have." And he didn't really get into specifics, but he hit me up the next day and was like, "Look, we're trying to do this reincarnation of Burn, and come try out." And so I already had the Revelation thing. I just sat down for the afternoon and just learned all those songs lickety split, and rolled up to the rehearsal spot and just started ripping it,
Yeah.
man. And they dug it, and we played a show at Pyramid. Was the first show I played with them. Uh,
I
over
seen you with them. I seen all the brand. That's why I think I first remember seeing you. Obviously, must have been for that.
I looked a little different. I had hair back then. I kind of had some like Brady kind of dread things, shaved on the sides, and man, that was a great show. I had so much fun, and I didn't know a lot of people in New York other than some of the band people that I knew previously,
Yeah.
just hardcore. But all the guys that were hanging out with them and the roadies for Burn and stuff, and they just like showed me so much love, and were just like, "Damn, man, that shit was," after the show, "Whatever you did up there, just keep doing that. That shit was rad."
I just
Like,
do that.
I'll give me, like, I don't know. Yeah, definitely Zero Tolerance taught me how to have some stage presence, and I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
enough
You had to
to.
represent being from up there. And I gotta say, that was probably the band that wasn't connected to, let's say, one of the youth crew up their bands that
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
people know about, that made it down there in those days. That wasn't, that wasn't the Trenches bands. One of these bands that never hit that big, but the Trenches, until this day, people know. I run into people all the time that bring, Zero Tolerance up and certain, and I'm like, oh, this is already what, 40 plus years.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's we didn't, we weren't able to really like knock down the walls, but the places we played, and like the people that we played in front of, like, were really
Yeah.
impressed always, and they've always remembered it. And yeah, I get hit up a lot even still, like, "Damn, man, like, I remember you from back in the day, and
Yeah.
so dope." And like, we definitely had a more of a metal-y kind of edge sound, and we definitely tried to take it to the next level with that, and be, you know,
Yeah.
real. Uh, and yeah, people, some of the bands that we played with weren't that. So like, it made us stick out more, and
Yeah.
it
It
was
it definitely has its play. People know like that's like one of those bands people know. But all right, who hits you up from H2O? How's that work out?
okay. So I'm actually playing in a crazy band. Like, so I played in Burn, and then I played in Orange 9mm, and that all kind of happened. And then uh, I was actually jamming with Sammy Siegler, Charlie Garriga, and Derek Green.
Yeah, listen, just a couple of people, little something bodies.
And we had like 4 or 5 like really ripping badass songs. And then Civ formed.
And there goes the
Annie
band.
really went that way. And I just bumped into Toby on the street. I was walking down the street with Two Hips.
Yeah, yeah. Rest in
Me and Two
peace.
Hips just like smoking a blunt, walking down the street. We were right by Bleecker Bob's.
Yeah.
Just cruising around. And yeah, Toby and Rusty just were walking by, and they're like, yo, fucking, you know how Toby is. He's real. He gets excited and wants to talk about the talk, you know. And,
Yeah.
So he was real excited. He was like, yo, fucking, I've been trying to find you and get a hold of you. Pete and Lou and all those guys told me I need to hit you up to play bass in my band. I'm starting a band and I got a song and we're ready to do that. You know, he was,
We got a song. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, like
Let's go.
He's talking a mile a minute, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, me and Tim fucking high as a motherfucker. I was just walking down the street. I wasn't expecting to have this conversation, and
let me ask you this: what was the name? Did you guys have a name with the band that was gonna happen?
Yeah, he already had H2O. So Sick of It All had a song written for him already.
No, that I know. The whole, I'm saying the band that you were going to do with all these guys.
Oh, yeah, we had like 4 or 5 songs, yeah.
But any name for the band, I'm saying?
There was talk of Overfiend. I think that was the main kind of name.
Yeah, something like that. All right, no, because that it's a real interesting bunch of dudes that
dude,
bugged out. I never even knew about that shit.
Nobody did. Like, we were just trying to get a rad set and come out like out of left field, so
yeah.
But yeah, then all that other stuff happened, and
then H2O go, and then
go happened, and then actually Derek was like roadieing with us for a minute and like doing that, and then yeah, the Sepultura thing happened for him, God bless, and had their own things going on, and
it's crazy. And then you did the H2O thing for a bunch of years, right? I know you did that, and then I don't remember the exit. I just because again, the next thing I know, oh shit, you're in Atlanta or maybe Florida already or somewhere when I first saw you again afterwards. What happened near the end of the H2O era of Smokey?
I wanted to go a different kind of direction musically than they did. I wanted to get more hardcore-y and a little heavier, and
just more what you were kind of They
were going more in the
and the H2O go.
They went.
Right? And you know what? That's what I always loved about H2O for what they were, was they were our Cali band, the East Coast Cali band. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we got that. We have a tough guy band. We have our Krishna band. We have our vegan band. And like, we needed everybody in our arsenal. Yeah. And but yeah, they were always more. They definitely were never on the heavy side. It was always more the melodic, that type of stuff. So yeah.
I didn't necessarily. I don't know. It was just a difference.
Yeah. And how many years you did? 6, you said?
No. It was only maybe like 2 or 3.
Oh, I thought it was all right.
It was the first 7 inches, the first record, and like the demos and stuff I did with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a few tours around the country and the East Coast, and yeah, I went to Europe with them, which we hung out a whole bunch.
Yeah, we had some crazy times. Because again, I remember those were like, I ain't gonna say a name, but a singer for a certain band was throwing them doodle bombs into the crowd. But that's something I remember us being under a stage, and I saw a certain singer of a band, start throwing doodle bombs into the fucking crowd. Oh yeah, and
you remember the bottle of tequila with the lizards in it?
Oh yeah, that was a whole bunch of shit. I remember everything was going on. Everybody was like, I remember because that was one of the first times also where we all ran into each other out there. Yeah. I remember running into Civ, then this guy, and it's you guys, and then we run into everybody. You're like, what the fuck? And bunch of animals the first time in Europe, like That Lower East Side. It was like a Friday night.
It was like a Friday night.
You remember our Friday, Saturday nights were always the same shit. Meet up at 1 a.m. and then take it from there.
Yeah.
And then now you do H2O, you do that shit, and then where does the tattooing come? Where was that part of you during this whole shit?
I always was like, did art and like drew and painted and stuff. I just never really like, it was just all something I did like at home or in free time, or like, I would doodle things for like bands I was in, or make like logos and stuff like that. And so I was friends with a bunch of tattooers, that some in New York and then some from Miami that I knew via the ones in New York. Garver, Darren, we used to call him Gumby.
Yeah, shout out to Darren. He's up there. He's like, shout out to Sean and everybody, Brass City and everybody.
Brass City Tattoo, all that, yeah. So Garver and Darren were down in Miami, and they actually, I remember meeting a bunch of other guys up in New York that were visiting them. And that turned out to be Ami James from like Miami Inc. This guy Fish, who passed away many years ago, old hardcore head. This other guy Donnie. And then I had family down in Miami, so I went down there and I was visiting one time, and then at this point I didn't realize that those tattooers in New York also worked in Miami too. So I just bumped into them on the street, and I was like, "What the fuck are you guys doing down here?" Like, and ended up hanging out with them, and they just had a rad scene going on down there. And New York kind of burnt. I was a little burnt in New York a little bit, and the struggle and whatnot, and
insane, man. You don't realize it till you leave.
Yeah. I mean, you work to live there. It's just
barely.
It's hard to get ahead, man, unless crushing it, and
Yeah, no, and then I know no, it's crazy. Yeah, that whole shit. I was like, and then you start. All right, when was it that you decided, being around that, you said, let me pull the trigger on this, let me try that shit?
Yeah, I was given an opportunity by my mentor, Emerson Forth, who was a tattooer down there working with Darren and Garver and those guys. And I just kind of, I mostly honestly kind of at first just fell in love with the art, because one time I walked into the shop and Tattoos by Lou, and these guys were just like painting these huge paintings of all these crazy, dragons and skulls and all this just art, like big art that I never like really saw. Like, you see fine art that's huge and whatever, and it's, impressive, but lower brow art or tattoo art I had never seen on a big scale like that. And it was just, I was mind blown, and it was just, so I was really attracted to that, and I really just started painting. And then, that buddy gave me opportunity, and I jumped on it. And
and now you never thought about it before that? Because, man, coming from where we come from, it seems like, even people that shouldn't be tattooing started tattooing at one point.
Yeah. Well, tattooing back kind of then also was very kind of taboo to like try to like get into it,
Secrets. Yeah, I remember the motherfuckers were really guarding the secrets.
And now it's, you go on Amazon and you can just buy whatever the fuck.
Yeah, right.
Go for it, and there's videos and tutorials, and Instagram, you could just follow people that'll just show you everything.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying when you were talking about doing the big art. And I was gonna say that's why I hate Garver, because he kills it. He's so good. Hate him. He knows he's that good. That's why I hate him, because he's that good. And I look at this is a Garver from a freehand Garver from a million years ago.
Hell yeah.
And this is, you know why? What kind of bugs me out, what I remember specifically about that was Jonathan Shaw. I got it in his spot, the one on the one downtown. But it's still the law. It was still illegal. They didn't pass the law yet. And I remember being like, this motherfucker got a storefront.
Yeah.
And then it was just one of the early ones in there. I remember it was him tattooing out of there. There was another guy who was really good. What was his name? A bald guy. I forgot.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Man, Good guy too.
The Ledger.
No, Ledger's my man. Ledger did this on me. Mikey
Nice.
Ledger. Yeah, he was in Hawaii the last. No, there was another guy. He never did stuff on me, but he was nice. He would do a lot of the thick, the dice with the thick outlines. But I remember he was another guy that Jonathan Shaw's, and I remember like this just happening then, and then the whole Miami thing, I think also, or maybe was about to start happening, or they were in town or some shit. It was that crazy times. And then how long you did to Miami? Because I'm in Florida now, and I'm never leaving.
Yeah. No, I love Miami. I go down there usually at least once a year or something.
Yeah.
I have some friends down there too. Yeah, and it's just rad. I love it down there. It's beautiful.
And then you're down here, and how you end up in ATL? Because I know you again forever being in ATL now. To me, you're ATL. You're Atlanta. You're hot Atlanta.
I came here in 2004. So some of the guys I was working with in Miami were from here. Oh. And then one I was really good friends with down there ended up moving here and working with those guys. And I'm being originally from Buffalo, I would drive from Miami up there to Buffalo to family, and I love road tripping. So
we're ignorant Northeast guys. We do that shit. Jump in the car. Let's go. You know that. We got a car.
Way straight or whatever.
Right? You got a traveling room.
Yeah. And but then I was like, oh, all you motherfuckers are up in Atlanta. Like that's about halfway if I go up 75. So I started doing that, and I was like, man, this is like a little hidden gem here. Like I'd end up like spending more than just the night on the road trip. I'd spend a couple days, and they just had a great art scene and tattoos, and music scene is great, and the food is fantastic, and it's kind of like a little melting pot of the South here in Atlanta.
I like it a lot there, and like. Our band's been going down there, if you think about it, a long time. Like, it's crazy. Like, they have a punk scene, all that Masquerade, all that, just maybe even more clubs, but they've been forever.
Yeah.
As long as my touring didn't start till the 90s, like really tour. And we were playing Masquerade already. We played there on like my first tour. Like, you know what I mean? And already there was a lot of old school dudes there when we were young. So I knew I was like, oh shit, the punk shit, and I always knew about, from, Virginia's and wherever where the COC guys were. So I always had an idea like, okay, the South got something there. Like it ain't just, people, and Atlanta has always was a pit stop. So I was like, music is there. And then let me ask you this, because you're Buffalo, right? Originally.
Yeah.
It's a very, very different from Buffalo.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And I know now you've been that, you kind of got to, I know you kind of got eased into because you went to Florida, and then you kind of got, because I'm a city guy, and I always knew I loved Florida, but I didn't really know I loved it till I lived here. And I'm like, oh, thank God I did. Like, I really love this. Did you adapt quick? Because the Northeast, we either talk shit like, oh, it's humid, it's this, it's that, or they love it. Like us. You become one of us where we just like, yeah, if it wasn't, but that's how you wanted to be if you're fishing, if you're on a beach. People don't understand. It's like, we don't want to be sweating and humid in between buildings and garbage like we used to be as kids.
Yeah.
I'm like...
I loved it. It's like just visiting when I came here. So yeah. And then even when I moved here, then I just even loved it more because it is a lot like Miami in the fact that it's a very spread out city.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot to do, man. And there's always like, whether it's art exhibits or new restaurants or concerts, like
it's
there's
popping. Music and definitely like
city shit. Like, that's like a whole outdoor world, I'm sure I love fishing.
Yeah.
Mountains and all that shit. And, there's, if I go 4 hours, I'm at a beach. I go an hour, I'm in the mountains. And,
I know.
I
Definitely.
go a couple hours south, I'm in a swamp. Like, there's lakes all over.
Hell yeah. No, it's perfect for like stuff like that. And I always like the food was always great, and just I always liked the vibe in the in the side. Now, and let me ask you this: with the tattooing, when you got up there, you have friends. Are you working? Are you an owner, or you just work out of a shop? What's the deal with that? Because everybody always got a different. I know in the tattoo world, that's always a different kind of like. I know the dudes that have been doing it forever, and they're like, "Yo, I never want to own," or guys that are owners and don't say nothing about it, and then there's guys that I own and I don't know more. Like, so it's a weird dynamic. But we know we grew up all tattoo guys, so I always knew that was a dynamic in that world.
So I worked for a shop for this guy Cap Zumsky. He passed away. He was an amazing black and gray tattoo artist. I worked at his shop for the first year I was here, and God bless, he taught me a lot of stuff, and he was a great dude. And then I worked at another shop called Liberty for about 6.5 years, and then me and my partner Bill, we ended up, and a few other guys, but they ended up leaving, and now it's just me and him, and we have 2 shops now called Southern Star Tattoo. One's on Ponce de Leon, which is like midtown of Atlanta, and the other one, Little 5 Points, and that's the one I'm at. And yeah,
that's dope. And how long? So that's dope. So you kind of like you own the shop, and then I know how it goes. You kind of become people. Some people trickle off, and then you're on. Now, how long being in the shop now, in that shop?
So our first shop that we opened in 2010, and then we opened the Little 5 Point shop 2 years after that in 2012. So we've been there a little bit now.
How many? Do you do a lot of hardcore kids?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's mostly where my main.
Do they know who you are all the time?
They do now, yeah.
Yeah, now. But I mean, like, you have anybody don't even realize it, because it's funny because
yeah.
I'll not that I expect to be noticed, but like, I'm very noticeable if you do know who the fuck in our world. But it's funny, I'll see like a hardcore shirt in the airport, and I just get amped. And it don't want to be like, for me, it'd be like, I saw this dude with a Chain of Strength shirt. And I go, "Yo, nice shirt." And the guy goes, "Yeah, it's a band." And I said, "Cool." But I was like, dope. But I loved it. I was like, he was like amped that I said, and I was amped that, wow, man, yo, hardcore kid. Like, you don't even know it. Like, but I know that some people bug out, because I also know you. If people don't ask you, you won't say it, and people won't know it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but it's bugged out, to be like, yo, you could be, you get some tattoo. You go, he does tattoos. Oh shit, So how it's bugged out. So
a lot of hardcore kids over the years, and that's my prime clientele for sure.
And then the tattoo. All right, even with that tattoo shit. Now let me ask you this: do you like being where you at, or you're one of these guys who likes to travel for the tattooing? I know you like to, do your fishing and all that, but like tattoo style, like you rather be in your own spot? Go ahead.
Thing and do a lot of guest spots at different places.
Yeah.
I haven't probably probably the past 7-ish years, but that being said, I've been entertaining that in my head of doing some travels. So I have a new band actually, and I've been traveling a little bit. Perfect. And that's kind of got the bug in me a little bit, because I've been stopping in some shops with some buddies.
Hell yeah. No. It was funny because I was going to get into that, and I'm glad you said it. And that makes sense when you're traveling, because first of all, if you're going to do that and go popping, you better pop in and do some work. Why not spread the name, and you're there anyway? You know what I mean? Like, now let me ask you, what's up with this band?
It's like a stoner metal kind of,
I'm in. I'm in. Where I listen, I want in already. Exactly.
Hell yeah. It's called Drifter. It's on Spotify. If you put in Drifter and space PRE, 2 of our songs start with PRE, so it should come up right away.
Hell yeah.
We have a record out. Our songs are a little on the long side, so it's like about 5 songs. I think it's 5 songs on the record.
Yeah, that's dope. No, hey, You know what it is? Yeah, I got a new band with E myself. It's still on some thrash crossover shit. We
I
do
love that
yeah.
stuff.
And let me ask you about this shit. So how long is this? Because I was gonna ask. I was like, man, I hope you're still playing. Because you'd be a waste for
Oh man.
the bass DNA out there in the world. How did this come up?
So right before COVID went down, I uh, was having a conversation with my lady, and just talking about playing the bass, and she ended up getting me a little short scale acoustic, and for Christmas, and then COVID happened, and I just honed in and started ripping the
Right.
out of that thing, and I just got pumped, man. I wrote a bunch of songs and linked up with the drummer of the band, and then I already known him and the guitar player, uh, because they were hardcore dudes that I tattooed already.
Gotcha. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hell yeah, hell yeah. That's how
I
it
was like,
is,
I know these guys, so ran into them at some shows, and yeah, we just started playing, and the songs just started coming out, man, and it was awesome. So we just wrote a lot of music during that time, during COVID, the whole lockdown thing, and once that kind of relinquished, we had already recorded our record, and we just started doing it, and it all just started coming back, as far as like, what you do, when you're in a DIY
yeah.
band, just making phone calls, connecting with people, messaging people, it, and honestly, I found it's a lot easier in this day and age with social
Oh
media.
yeah, hell yeah. No, for sure. Look at
Oh
that's
God,
fucking great. No.
the people to get shows like back in the day.
Oh, but remember back in the day, you write a if you're lucky, you wrote a letter and hope that they wrote back.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and shout out to Bill Wilson and Blackout because
Oh,
he's the only guy that wrote back to Demise when I sent my demo as a kid, and he didn't know me then, but he actually wrote us back. He dissed us, but gave us hope. Stay in the fight. Shout out to Bill Wilson and Blackout, but but yeah. So, all right, you started now. How did you record? Did you record in your house, a house setup? Did you go in a studio? Did you do that whole shit?
uh, one of our buddies, this guy CJ, he's a badass in town, a local guy. Uh, he had a home studio, and he had
Dope.
already done some recording for some other bands that we really dug, and we just knew he would understand the sound of where we wanted it to go, and just the vision of the band. And yeah, I think he totally captured it. And,
Yo, we're gonna be playing soon, and we're gonna play together. We gotta do that because
yeah, man.
for definitely because the same shit with us. We're not on some stoner shit, but we're at a crossover. The new shit's with Ezek. I'm gonna send you the links and all that to check it out. But now these type of bands could play together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we
Like,
played with all kinds of bands,
but
metal.
these will make more sense, because
Yeah.
we can't have if you're 15 years old, you're gonna have we're gonna break our hips trying to keep up with them. You know what I mean? We need that shit that we could blaze and rock out to.
That's
But
what
yeah, I already know why you did. That's what me and Ezek are in the old watch your hip community, and it feels good to play and create again, huh? To be jamming out and stuff, right?
what feels great too is like, so way back, let me do a little rewind. Way back when I was playing, after Burn, I was playing with Orange 9mm, and that required a different bass sound than I had ever used. Hardcore bass sound is kind of just standard.
Yeah.
I hate the word stock, but it's kind of like a stock sound.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
There's not real many dynamics to it, use of pedals or effects. But Orange 9mm had me, using this big muff pedal and fucking with little pedals. And then I was only in that band for a short minute. I had some crazy personal shit going on in my life back then. But
That opened you up.
but then I played with H2O and those other, and I had to go back to that stock sound a little bit. The Orange 9mm bass sound wouldn't work with H2O.
Cool, yep.
Like it's complete opposite. But now in this band Drifter, I was able to like revisit all that and fuck with some awesome pedals and just really like get creative. And my bass sound in this project
I want to
has,
hear that shit. I'm gonna hear it right when we finish this shit. I'm gonna put it on.
it's, I have this company Dark Glass. I'm sure you're
Yeah.
familiar. uh, Man, they're making some really sick, like nasty distortion fuzzes for bass. And oh man, I got some serious thick crazy sound.
I'm now you got. I really want to fucking hear because you always. I used to like the sound you used to get. Even whatever you think with H2O was stock, you always again you stuck out. Again, it wasn't. I know you were playing in that band, but it stuck out. When you played, I remember, and I remember being like,
Bass
it's an
needs to be
aggressive
loud.
style.
It
Yeah.
needs to have, certain dynamics need to be there. Like what?
Yeah.
Gotta be thick and bassy.
Yeah, and you always stuck by that. Again, exactly. Some people always went more towards like Craig. That sound only works for Craig. If I grab that bass, that shit sounds like tinfoil to me.
Yeah.
To him, it sounds like a lifesaver, like a lifesaver. It's like.
But he's got that picking style. And and that bounce and that,
Exactly. And our style, especially for some I haven't even heard, but just hearing from the style, I could tell, when we do those slower styles or even doomier styles, it's a bigger rounder bass is what you need. You need that shit to be like. And what are you using? I know you say you're using a couple different things, but what's your standard bass of the sound? Is there a standard distortion or overdrive you're using now, or still a basic bass sound?
So I have this pedal by Dark Glass called the Atom, and it basically you can put 3 presets into it. And you can use this pedal just as a pedal and hone in sounds, but they also have an app that you can link the app, like the pedal, sync it into, and pull presets out of their app, which have cabinet simulations, head simulations. It has noise gate, a chorus in there, and all sorts of shit, which I haven't even been I'm not that techie of a guy.
Yeah.
It works great just as a pedal, for me. I have gone on the app, but it's a little overwhelming for me. But I mean, the options are endless with this thing. I also have a monosynth pedal that I love. Makes it sound like this crazy aggressive keyboard almost. And I love the Pog. I had a Pog pedal. It's almost like a what do they call it? Not a chorus, but like a multi pitch.
Like a pitch thing. Yeah, I get it. Let me ask you, what do you think? Like what Geezer Butler does? Did you think that was just an overdrive from the Ampeg kind of thing?
I don't know. He could have had one of those big muff pedals. They have.
That's what I was thinking. It's maybe.
No, he has a wah that he used on a lot of that.
Yeah, that stuff. Yeah, the wah stuff. I don't fuck with it personally because how I play, I just can't. To me, I'm like, I just don't play that style where it makes that come off. But when that sound he just gets.
Yeah. Sound is insane. Yeah,
and I know obviously it's his hand too, but I know there's an Ampeg something there. You know what I mean, in the bass, in the mix of that. And now with this stuff, you're fucking around with a lot of stuff. And how many songs you got recorded?
We have 6 songs recorded. So we have our first record, and then we also have a single that we put out probably about a year ago. That's on Spotify as well. Yeah.
That's dope. And the name of the band is dope. I like that name.
Oh, thank you, brother.
It sounds like you would think somebody would have grabbed it already, right?
Hey, there is a couple other ones.
I mean, there's other couple. I mean, like nobody. If I didn't hear, you know what I mean? There's everything is taken.
Driving that name forward.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
Got shit going on.
And now, of course, the fishing, everything you're fishing. What's the next trip for you? Because I always see you fucking catching trouts and whatnots. I know you got that the magic of fishing pole. What's the next trip for you?
I'm probably gonna hit up the mountains. I might even go later today. In the mountains in about an hour from my house. So I might just depending. They were saying it was going to rain, but now it's sunny as hell. So I'm like, damn, they're playing games over here. These tarot card readers.
Hell yeah. And with the band, any shows coming up? Anything with the band right now?
So we took a little break to write some new stuff, and we have the new stuff done, and we are playing June 15th here in Little 5 Points in Atlanta.
Perfect.
It's going to be a huge free show outdoors.
That's dope.
In the circle right behind the Little 5 Points neighborhood. It's going to be awesome. There's like 10 bands playing.
That's dope.
Order of the Owl, Us, Fiend Without a Face, Leaf Blower, Palaces.
That's dope. A good time outside too.
That are from here in Atlanta and doing it right.
Hell yeah, man. You know, we still got to do some tattooing each other. I never forget about that. That's going to happen because I want to make a trip up there actually soon with my family because they've been mentioning it there. And I want, I love it. That to me gives me an excuse. We can hang out. It gives me an excuse, an excuse to go fish. I got to show Hoya and his boys. You know what I mean?
We'll have to a little bass tournament or something.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm for real because they want to do that. And I got 0 fish thumbs. I only got a green thumb, but I see how you work, and so I know you. Hell yeah, no, and on the real, we're gonna play some shows together because I think our bands are, definitely could do that, and we're with me and E are getting ready to play out. We're literally starting rehearsals tomorrow with the band. I'm gonna send you some stuff after this, and
hit up your Munch today about getting down on South Beach. We played a couple shows at Kill Your Idol down there.
Oh, hell yeah. Listen, next time you come to hit South Beach, let me know. We get up. We got to get up. And I got the Primo over here. I got Florida locked for that. I make it happen. Listen, I'm glad I was able to get you, man. I want you to go fish and catch something for us. But listen, shout out to everybody who's been tuning in. Listen, go check out the band. One more time, let them know where they can see the band. Do you got an Instagram for the band yet?
Yeah, Drifter_ATL.
Boom.
Also the Spotify Drifter. Put a space in PRE, and it should pop right up. I can show you the album cover.
Hell yeah. Show that before we got it. I want to see that definitely.
So, you know what
to look for. Hell yeah. I'm gonna go check that out because I want to see if I could probably bite some of your bass sounds for my new band because that's where I'm at with my new group now. I'm using a little more dirtier sound and stuff. Oh shit, let's see this. I'm waiting for my vinyl to. Oh shit, yeah, there we go. That's dope. There you go. Hell yeah.
Created by Mirko Gastow, great artist from Berlin.
Dope, man.
He does awesome artwork. It's all this awesome vinyl too. So,
and that's where they could get that at. Where's that available right now?
Yeah, it is available. If you hit me up on Instagram,
I'll make it happen
for you. We have the Bandcamp as well, but we don't have. We need to work on it.
Yeah, we got to work on. Everybody, hit them up everywhere. The Bandcamp is important, especially if you find a label. You know how that makes noise. Like people, the relationship with the people and the music are close on that shit, which, it's dope. But yo, I'm so glad I got to get up with you, Smokey. We got to do this shit in person. You know the deal. Before we sign off, hang on. To make sure things get locked down. But everybody, tap in, go check him out, get tattooed by him, go check out the band. Everybody, we out of here. Hold on, Smokey, all right? Peace.